earlier, if I mentioned about following up consistently, but there are some ways in which you can follow up, which is called creative follow-up. It's not every time you want to ask the client about the transaction you are working up. If you have an article that you think the client might be interested in, you can send it to the client. You need to come around creative ways in which you can use to follow up with your prospect. And again, your problem-solving skills is very, very important. For instance, you have a client. I have a property on at Post Square at Adiola. The name of the property is Post Square. I have clients come in at times and say, "Oh, I really don't know what I want to do with this space." We have about 300 and we have about 100 or 200 staff. My problem-solving skills come into telling them, "Okay, I have an architect or I have an interior decor who can help you lay out this space the way you want it. Don't you think your support staff can use this space? Don't you think your kitchenette can be in this space?" Those things help goes a long way to in helping your client reach a faster decision. And again, your communication skills is very, very important. I don't take my first call with my clients for granted. I always like to listen to their needs. I mean, my first telephone conversation is more of an 80% listening than 20% talking. Not because I don't want to advise them at that moment, but because that stage is very, very crucial. If I miss that stage, right, there's a probability I'm just going to be rolling around the whole transaction and thinking, oh, so why is the transaction not closing? But it's really because I haven't really listened to what the client needs. If you listen very well to what the client needs, you will see that your transaction is going to be shorter in you closing. And even at that time, your client is going to respect you more because you've listened and you've gotten what he or she wants in the market. Then the last one is you need to know how to use your social media. Social media is very, very important. I know that the need of that cannot be overemphasized. You need to know when to go on WhatsApp. You need to know when to go on Instagram. You need to know when to go on Facebook. My first 1,000 like on LinkedIn was because of storytelling. So I got to know that on LinkedIn, you need to do so much of storytelling. On Instagram, people are interested in your lifestyle. They need to see the lifestyle before you can now start putting those products in their faces. But WhatsApp, you need to let them know what product you have. So when they have people interested in that product, they would reach out to you. So because of time, I'll just explain this 5. And if you have any further question, please feel free to ask me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. So let's go to you. Do you think digital transformation would disrupt or change the role of the real estate professional? And if yes, how?
Well, thank you, Mr. Peter, for the question. I would like to say very big thank you and good afternoon to everyone. I believe that technology is an enabler and a catalyst of real estate or any industry, and not basically in that sense of disrupting or, getting people sacked or off their jobs, but making it easier in providing transparency and accountability in our processes. 3 things need to happen in a real estate transaction that are critical to the success of that transaction. Number 1, the willing buyer and seller must meet via an agent. And number 2, the willing buyer must view or inspect a range of properties of his choice. And number 3, a transaction is binding by payment and legal agreements. Now, these are the opportunities for disruption, as we may put human interaction, which is the first modus operandi of any real estate transaction, mainly because we have not come to the point where we can carry out real estate transactions digitally without meeting people. I mean, till today, real estate concerns are still the number 1 litigationary issues in every country in the world. So human interaction is very crucial. However, how can we facilitate that in a post-COVID world? We have to bring in some level of digital integration into that form of human interaction. So we are talking about the use of Zoom software applications, we're talking about the use of live videos, we're talking about the use of technological apps and all of these innovative trends you see today. Number 2, we have viewing and inspecting a property. Nowadays, because of the busy schedules of some of our clients, we now use tools like virtual reality and all of these major tools to aid the viewing and inspection of properties by these clients faster than usual. So virtual reality has a place to play in terms of disruption. You don't have to be there, to prevent coronavirus from being contaminated, from your clients from contaminating coronavirus or you contaminating coronavirus, on site. basically you can utilize a VR tool for that. Thirdly, transactions. Now, to facilitate transparency and accountability in transactions, what disruptions can actually take place there? You have what we call a smart contract. And the smart contract is a legal binding agreement between user as between the client and the agent and the developer of the property, in that sense. And that basically creates ease and makes the process a lot faster. We also have ledger technology. One of the example of ledger technology is Bitcoin. But ledger technology can be adapted into escrow payments. Makes payment faster than raising a bank draft, or faster than raising checks to make the payment. A ledger payment basically integrates all of these critical stakeholders and provides the accountability and transparency needed. So with these three critical factors, I believe that yes, a digital integration framework is needed for every real estate professional post-COVID going forward. And Fine and Country, yes, we play a major role in that. We have a framework called RETEC that if you're interested in, you can speak to our advisory unit, and then we can consult and see how we can help you scale your processes. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'll be available.
Thank you, Uye, and thank you, Fine and Country's champion. We'll be taking questions at the end, so you can type in your questions into the question sections. Uye, please, you can take it from here.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Peter. Thank you very much. Now, the next itinerary on our currently we have DULUX, a presentation by DULUX Nigeria. Now, this is the next itinerary on the line, and we would like to have our team at DULUX present what they have, their panel session. And while they're doing that, we have a couple of questionnaires we're going to be sharing with each and every one of you, so that you can actually, it's a survey apparently. Now, in this survey, you can actually answer this survey, the questions, and at the end of the live webinar, we'll be able to present you some facts and details and data. Data is a language of the real estate industry right now. So we would like to share all of these informations with you at the end of the survey. So make sure you participate in the survey. But right now, we would like to have our panelists from DULUX Nigeria.
Okay. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, so my name is Charles Michael, the technical manager for DULUX. And I just want to say that we all know post-COVID-19, businesses have to embrace changes that will make them more efficient and be able to deliver their services better. Okay, so here in DULUX, we are trying to partner with quite a number of the real estate providers to ensure that whatever painting they do will be able to last longer on the wall, because we know with social distancing, we will not be able to accommodate frequent maintenance on our buildings. Okay, so here in DULUX, we have products that are geared towards achieving that objective. I'll share my screen if that is okay. Okay, I hope you're all seeing my screen. Is my screen visible, please?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, so here in DULUX, we want to actually create a new Africa inspired by colors. Okay, and like I said earlier, we want a situation whereby whenever you do any painting using our products will require the less minimum maintenance as far as that building is concerned, because we know post-COVID-19 era, we will not have the opportunity to allow for constant maintenance of our buildings. Okay, so we have here two specialty products that I just want to share with us. But before we go into that, please, I want to first point out the fact that for every structure you have, your greatest enemy is moisture. Okay, your greatest enemy is moisture. So we are saying that the ingress of water or moisture into your plaster or concrete. Now, plaster walls not allowed to dry sufficiently after plastering, poorly sealed substrate, and moisture-rich sources are the reasons why moisture can attack your building. And one thing that DULUX have been able to do is to be able to equip all our outlets with machineries to determine the moisture contents of your wall. And for good paint applications, you need to have a moisture content that is 12% and below, nothing higher than 12% and below. Because the whole thing is the fact that if you do your painting correctly, you will need less maintenance going forward. And that is something that DULUX has promised to do. I just want to show you that moisture in this picture can cause damage to your painting if we don't have products that can prevent such from happening. Okay, so the product in focus are two. We have the DULUX DAMPSHIELD. This is a water-based waterproofer for damp cementous substrates containing up to 50% moisture level. So what we are saying in essence is that for every painting you want to do, where the moisture is 50% and below, you can use this product to solve that particular problem. Also, we have our DULUX Ray Shield, which is a membrane-free, flexible fiber, reinforced waterproofing paint for walls, roof, and parapets. Now, the whole essence of these two products is to ensure that at the end of the day, by the time you are done doing your work on those walls will require little or no maintenance at all. Now, the key benefits of the DULUX DAMPSHIELD is the fact that it has a low VOC content, low volatile organic compound. That's to say it is very environmentally friendly to your environment. And also it protects against peeling caused by damp, and also prevent the effect of rising damp on your buildings. Also for the DULUX Rain Shield, we say it is water resistant, it's flexible and crack resistant, and also it is fiber reinforced. Okay, all this ensures that your painting will last very long on the wall. So for every job you want to do out there, there is a need for you to understand that the weather conditions are okay, that your ventilation is also good, and in your pursuit, you must think that the paint you want to do at the end of the day. So you must protect your walls against moisture, because with these two products in hand, if applied properly, it will cause your painting work to last longer. Okay, so we have few maintenance issues because we no longer have the luxury post-COVID-19 for painters to come and keep correcting whatever they have done over time. So there's a need for us to have the right paint requirements that you will use. I mentioned earlier that there is an instrument that we now have in our system where you can use conveniently to measure the moisture contents of your wall. And if you have that understanding and you apply these two products that we have currently in the market, I'm very sure that your painting needs, your painting requirements will last very long when it is done properly. Now, DULUX also have gone a step further. We now have a very good website, a website that is very interactive, a website that if you log on, you can follow the prompts easily, and it will move you from selection of whatever product you want, even to the payment and delivery. DULUX also will do home deliveries for every product you buy. So we have that website, and you can connect with us on any of our social media platforms at DULUX Nigeria, and we have our own care line number that you can call, and there'll be somebody at the end of the line, at the end of the other line, to help you in whatever your purchasing needs are. So the technology advancement, technology is definitely going to advance as far as post-COVID-19 is concerned, and DULUX had to quickly respond by putting together a platform that can make your buying needs easy. And with these two products that I've introduced to you, you can be rest assured that your painting will need little or no maintenance immediately you complete that job. Okay, so that's
Thank you very much for that
to help all your
presentation.
painting needs and to ensure proper maintenance. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Michael, for that awesome presentation. We were deeply enlightened by the efforts that DULUX is making in the real estate industry and construction industry. DULUX is a long-standing company, and they have contributed immensely to the building industry in Nigeria. Thank you very much. So if you have any questions for Mr. Michael, please forward your questions to us. We'll be taking a panel session to answer the questions much later. Next on the itinerary is a keynote speech by our chair, our CEO, our chief igniter, our kingmaker and queenmaker, and Mrs. Udo Okonjo. Please let's welcome Mrs. Udo Okonjo to take us further on this session.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you, Uyi, for the accolades, as they say. And well done, everyone. Thank you, DULUX, for that incredible presentation. I mean, I have to disclose that I do have an association with the company, but just listening to the presentation that was made, you know, I mean, I'm totally sold. I like, in particular, the last thing that was mentioned, which is that, you know, quality and longevity of you know, the paint or the product that you put on your property will actually reduce the amount of repainting that you have to do, and therefore reduce the need for people to be coming in and out of your homes. I mean, obviously in this season, we all know how inconvenient and how unsafe that is. And I suspect that for the long haul, that anything that gives you that sort of long-term protection is something that you want to. So I think it's important that obviously as professionals that, you know, perhaps we get to the point where we actually ask questions of, you know, the developers or the property owners that we work with to make sure that they are using good quality products such as the DULUX paint. Thank you very much for that. And also for the panelists, great job. Thank you, Peter. Thank you to the moderator, Uyi. What I'd like to do is actually have you do the Q&A now. So let's take about, you know, 10 minutes to do the Q&A. And if we take maybe 5 to 7 minutes for the Q&A, because there are a couple of questions, I don't want us to gloss over them because it will make our conversation much richer if we can take some of the questions. So Peter, do you want to take the questions and then, you know, hand it over to whoever, you know, would answer it, and then we can do the survey because that survey is important before my presentation. Over to you, Peter, please.
This is for David. The trend to work from home. What's your opinion on how this will affect commercial property space? David. David, this is also for you. Let me see if there's any question for you for the panel. Someone that doesn't have access to high-end clients has a few luxury investments in portfolio. In what way can such clients be approached? Sola, do you want to take this? So can you hear me? Your mic is on mute.
Yes, I can hear you now, but I didn't get the question, please.
Okay. It says someone that doesn't have access to high-end clients or have a few luxury investments in portfolio. In what way can such clients be approached?
Okay, thank you for the question. I think at one point in a real estate professional career, we all have to go through that. So the network of people that you keep is very, very important. You need to go to places where you can easily target the people that has the mandate and the people that has the money for them to be able to afford the mandate you are trying to get. So the association you keep is very important. The branding, the personal branding, because nobody wants to give their mandate to someone that they are not sure or they're not sure of the person's competence. So the competence, you need to show competence at every conversation you have with the person you are trying to secure a mandate from. I don't know if that answers your question.
Can I also say something to add to that? I would also say if you don't have that target market, maybe you can also look at collaborating with people, who are able to sell within those kind of properties, right? So like a fine and country, for instance, since we deal with those kind of clients, you can look at working with fine and country, to sell your portfolio.
Can you take this also? So someone talking about qualifying a client. So you have a client who needs a particular specific location. You don't have that location. How do you suggest another location to them, alternative location to them?
Sorry, can you come again?
For a client who already has a location in mind, and you think you should maybe introduce or give them an alternative, how do you approach that?
I think for clients like that,
Let's go ahead.
okay. I think for clients like that, you need to understand why they want that specific location. I think once you understand why they want the location, it may be for security, it may be because it's close to where their kids' schools, are, then you are able to understand what exactly is drawing them to that location. Then you have to look for a location maybe similar or closer to whatever issues, they. Sorry?
Great. So that comes in qualifying the client. So that comes from the early stage in your discussion, right?
Hello, Mr. Peter.
Okay.
Hello,
Mr.
Mr.
Peter. I have a
Peter.
question for you. With the growing trend to work from home, what's your opinion on how this will affect commercial property space? Did you hear the question?
Sorry, Peter, you're talking, the question is for me, right?
Yes, for you.
Okay, please, can you take it again? I didn't hear you.
With the growing trend to work from home, what's your opinion on how this will affect commercial property space?
Okay, thank you for that question. I think that it will have an impact in terms of occupancy levels. So, so generally, footprints in terms of the number of members of staff that are being accommodated in the office will reduce. Since some of them will have to work from home remotely, so the footprint will reduce. So what that means is that sizes of spaces being required, by corporate tenants would reduce. Secondly, we would also see space optimization. So what I refer to by that is to say that there will be cutting out. There will be a lot of cutting out of redundant spaces. So if a space is not needed, it's not going to be in use. So case in point, if you have a 500 square meter office space, and then you have your team fitting perfectly into 200 square meters, and then you have the other ones being used for meeting, you have multiple meeting rooms, multiple conference rooms and all that, it might have to be reduced. So the meeting rooms can be reduced to just one, and then some of the larger office spaces can be reduced in size. So space optimization and footprint, those are going to be the major impacts in terms of the remote working.
Thank you, David. Alex, please put up the survey, and while we take the survey, I will come back to you, David. There's another question for you, but please, Alex, put up the survey so that people can fill up the survey. Thank you. Okay, David, someone wants to know the language of luxury. Selling luxury apartment or selling luxury properties, what's the language to use?
Okay, so the language of luxury has to do with not just what you say, but it has a whole lot of things that are conjoined with it. So from your presentation, from your knowledge, and it always starts with your knowledge. You have to be able to demonstrate that you're very knowledgeable about what you're talking about, and that knowledge is what fuels your confidence. So when you are speaking to a HNI, high net worth individual client who wants to buy your luxury property, and you have good knowledge of what you're speaking about, is going to make you very confident, and that confidence will make them endeared to you. So the language of luxury cuts into the speech, your presentation, your level of knowledge about what you're speaking about, and then of course, the marketing collaterals and all that you're putting in front of the potential purchaser. So all of that, comes into what I will consider the language of luxury. So you need to be speaking that language, and everything you do has to be consistent, and has to be in line with what you're looking to achieve. So at the end of the day, you want to demonstrate that you're confident, you're knowledgeable, you're professional, you have high level of integrity, and you're able to provide solutions to the client.
Thank you. Please, you're supposed to fill the survey on your screen. So please just go ahead and do that. Okay, let's see all this. Okay, let's take another question while they fill out the survey. We'll just give another 2 minutes or 3 minutes for that to be done. A particular narrow threshold you use to differentiate between low-cost housing, affordable housing, and luxury housing? Did you hear the question?
Hello, Peter.
Did you hear the question? Is there a particular narrow threshold that you use to differentiate an affordable housing and luxury housing?
Okay, so I mean, it can be a gap. So when we speak about affordable housing, it doesn't just refer to low cost housing. It also refers to properties within the mid-market that are efficiently priced as well. So it can be anywhere from so if the low cost housing, anywhere from 10 million naira, even as much as 50, 60 million, once it's efficiently priced, there's value laden in it, it can be considered affordable. However, on the other hand, when you're speaking about luxury property, in terms of pricing, I would reckon that we are potentially speaking about a property that is 100 million naira and over that, because at a certain level, at a certain price point, there are certain features, amenities, and capabilities the property brings to bear, to the purchaser or to the user, that have to be in place. And then for all of this to be in place, then it has to also be able to command a certain price. So I would reckon that it will be in that range for the luxury property.
Okay, thank you. I think by now we should have the results of the survey. And Alex, we have the result now. Thank you, Alex. So I will hand over to Ms. Sudo Okonjo to continue her presentation, her keynote speech. Thank you. Can you hear me? I'd like to hand over to Mrs. Sudo Okonjo to continue with
Okay,
her
Peter,
keynote.
thank you so much. Thank you, and thanks for the question and answers. I don't think we're able to take all the questions, but what we can do is obviously when the posts, the after webinar notes are sent, we can answer some of those questions and send it as a way of helping for those who've asked questions that haven't received answers. So once again, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. I will be speaking to you over the next few minutes on a couple of themes, two very specific themes. I'm starting with rethinking the role of the real estate agent in a post-COVID world. And, in a sense, some people have referred to COVID, and now some people are saying post-COVID is almost like, AD and BC. For those who don't know, AD is after Christ, and then, before Christ, as it were. So in a sense, because a pandemic happens only ever so often, once usually in a lifetime, it's something that is so significant that some people are therefore referring to when this is over, because things have dramatically changed. And so that's why we put in a post-COVID world. But if you ask me, I believe that what I'll be sharing will, has already been relevant in the last several decades, but will become even more so. That said, I just want to go through a couple of, some data, just, in terms of the size of the real estate market. As at 2014, the real estate sector in the country, and speaking specifically to Nigeria now, was at about 9.16 billion as at 2014. By 2016, it had increased in value to about 13.65 billion. And clearly we're now in 2020. I don't have the current data. And this is according to the Price Waterhouse, the PwC report that at the time was titled Real Estate Building the Future of Africa. At some point, real estate in Nigeria was growing at 8.7% and became the 6th largest sector in the economy. Last week, we hosted a webinar for investors, the Refined Investor Series, during which we had various experts, and specifically we had Dr. Andrew Nevin, who is the chief economist of PwC. And during that webinar, he did indicate that in his opinion, the real estate is the most significant industry that contributes to creating wealth. I personally agree and believe, but because he's an economist, I'm quoting him and want us to go based on that authority. He's an authority in economics. So this report also indicated that high net worth individuals invest about 25% of their assets in real estate, compared to 18% or less in other asset classes, equities, and other instruments. What am I saying and why am I sharing this data with you? I want you to know, if you're on this broadcast today, if you're on this webinar, that the bottom line is real estate is big. And I want you in the chat section to participate in this. As you will find, my style of presenting and teaching and sharing is very interactive. And, you know, I'm very deliberate in some of the tasks that I give you in the course of my presentation. I want you to write in the chat section, in the comment section, real estate is big. This is an instruction to your brain. It's an instruction to yourself. It's also an instruction to the universe that you recognize that real estate is big. It is massive. It is mega. It is the real deal. I'm going to say it one more time. Real estate is big. That's the bottom line. Now let's move on. Real estate is big, but business is war. Life has changed. Business has changed. The economy has and will continue changing. Nothing will remain the same in terms of how businesses do their business. Nothing will remain the same in terms of how real estate business is conducted. Some entrepreneurs have had to go back to the drawing board to review their business and to ask tough questions. Many small businesses, including real estate entrepreneurs, including real estate agents, were caught off guard without a clear plan of action of how to engage in this new world. Many businesses will crumble. Many will dwindle to insignificance. Many will not be able to reemerge from this crisis, sadly so. For some, it will be voluntarily because they gave up, probably because they realized that they were climbing the wrong mountain all along. For others, it will be largely involuntary, and because they chose to continue thinking with the same old mindset that worked in the pre-COVID economy, what I refer to as the old economy. Now, trying to keep any business afloat without re-engineering it by asking the right questions to ensure that there's clarity as to where stability and subsequently growth will come from will cause many people to fail. Trying to merely wait out the COVID, this pandemic, will be counterproductive for many of us. Old pathways, quite simply, won't lead to new opportunities. I'm going to say that one more time. Old pathways will not lead to new opportunities. COVID-19, as we've all seen, is the perfect storm to cause a great shift in many businesses. The popular adage that says innovate or die is quite literally alive and true for most, if not all, businesses. And as real estate entrepreneurs, as business leaders, quite frankly, in any segment, we must all try to navigate the fast-changing environment of work, especially post the COVID, post the lockdown. Now the lockdown has been eased in Nigeria, certainly in Lagos. However, many businesses haven't gone back, to work, because obviously what they're doing is, as it were, relooking at their businesses, not just in terms of the business models, but in terms of the business infrastructure to ensure that that infrastructure that existed can also operate effectively in a post-COVID environment. Now, when we say post-COVID, COVID is not over. Until there's a vaccine, we can expect to operate in this new norm, as it were. Now, I believe that possibilities exist. There is a sense in which most people are focused on the challenges caused by this COVID-19, but the opportunities that are going to emerge out of this pandemic crisis for those who put on their thinking cap and who put on their possibilities lenses are simply going to be endless. This is an era where every entrepreneur, every professional, every business has to become positive and possibilities minded. It is only in the space of positivity that you can think critically. It's only in the space of positivity that you can innovate. Real estate, as we knew it, it will no longer be the same. Indeed, yesterday, I was interacting with some real estate professionals looking for property. As a matter of fact, during this period, it's been incredibly busy. So many inquiries. You would think that because of the lockdown, that people would go into their spaces and wait for this to ride. But as you know, real astute investors understand that it's when there's a lockdown, that is where they come out to lock down real estate. And so we've been receiving quite a few calls. And as you know, real estate is a collaborative game. And so we engage with some of the people we collaborate with. And one of them said, Mrs. O, let's meet tomorrow. I can show you the place. And I said, no, we don't operate like that. We're now in a COVID era. Send a survey, blank out whatever you need to. Send me the upfront information, an executive summary that gives me all the upfront details that as a potential investor I should have without needing to meet you physically or specifically. And, I had to then explain to him how this is now necessary and is the best way to do business. In fact, it can actually be automated if you have that information on your site so that people can get that information and you're not spending time talking about the basics, so that when you engage clients, you are actually moving the conversation along intelligently and being more effective. So what am I saying? We're no longer in the old era, we're in the new era. Being ordinary, doing business the old way, having a fear mindset, having an analog mindset, it's not going to serve you in the post-COVID era. The bottom line with regards to this particular point that I want to make, and this brings me to the core theme of what I'm sharing with you, for those of you who are on this particular training today, is that being ordinary is no longer good enough. In this new world that we're going to engage, you have to move from ordinary to becoming what I refer to as an epic agent. Epic agent. So I'm going to share with you 4 key principles, 4 key lessons that if you take out of today's session, you would have taken out quite a lot. Who is an epic agent? 4 key characteristics that I'd like to share, and I'm going to focus on 1 or 2 of them very specifically. An epic agent is an agent who is, E stands for excellent. E in epic stands for excellence. I believe that 2020 and beyond, this decade, belongs to the excellent. The starting point of any successful person or business is the burning desire to achieve a higher standard than what is ordinarily prevalent. We all know that we operate in not just in the real estate segment, but actually in a country and in a continent and in an economy where, quite frankly, mediocrity is the order of the game. And in the past, when I've shared this, people took objection to the word mediocrity. But I want you to pay attention very closely, because that word mediocrity is actually the biggest opportunity in Africa. It's the biggest opportunity because most people operate in the sphere of the mediocre. Now, those who choose excellence as a standard will be those who will strive to attain essentially this level. And those are the people who are going to thrive in this new economy. Your life does not have to reflect the negativity or the standards of the environment or the company or the community or the country where you operate. If it is substandard, excellence is a lifestyle. Excellence is a decision. Excellence is a habit. It's not what you do today. It's what you do every single day. It's what you do tomorrow. It's what you do the day after. It's what you do post-COVID. It's what you do before COVID. But if you've not been doing excellent, I'm presenting you the opportunity. We are presenting you the opportunity to adopt excellence as one of the key principles that will enable you, as it were, to thrive irrespective of the economy. The future really does belong to the excellent. Those who refuse to be numbered with a mediocre majority. Let no one fool you into thinking that it doesn't matter. Let no one fool you into thinking that it's business as usual. No, it is now business unusual. One day, I used to say a long time ago, things will change across Africa. Things will change across Nigeria, and it will happen suddenly and without notice. And then only those with high standards, only those who stand for something, only those who deliver the services, the goods will become relevant. Those who deliver it at an excellent level. This has become so relevant. DULUX was speaking only a few minutes ago, and I saw in the Q&A where someone was asking, What are you going to do with your trainee painters? Is there a way that you can do a pre-test, of the painters? Is there a way in which you can present the service in such a way that gives the homeowners or the property owners that sense of comfort and confidence, peace of mind, that the people coming into their space are people who, as it were, operate at a particular standard? The reason that we have DULUX on this call is because we know that they operate at that standard, at an international standard, and that they will put and continue to put things in place to ensure that they deliver only excellent products. It's the reason why they're leading brand in the sector in which they operate. Now, how does that apply to you as a real estate agent? As a real estate agent, as a real estate entrepreneur, as a broker, as a business owner, the word excellence should be your defining word in 2020 and going forward, because standards will become very important. The restaurant where you order your food or where you go into, everywhere you go, you're going to look at whether it's facilities management. You're going to look at the interior decorators who come into your space, whoever you're operating with. The other day, someone needed to go to the hospital. They wanted to find out what the standards were at that particular hospital. Have they put in place, protocols to, as it were, give them that sense of peace of mind? In the real estate sector, what does it look like? The days of showing a property that is filthy, the days of arriving 30 minutes later than your client, the days of not having the information that your client needs in order to have, as it were, the basics, those days are over. There are times I play this joke. I call people on Castle, on the magazine, on whatever platform where people advertise their properties. And it is incredible. It is shocking the number of real estate agents who do not have the basic information about their properties, forgetting that you never know who your client can be. There were many years ago where I had a client. He didn't look like much, but he went on to buy close to 20 properties over the next 3 to 5 years. He was a big time businessman, a trader right here in Lagos, who was looking, as it were, to go into real estate investment. But if you looked at him, or if he had called you, he may not have sounded like much, and then you speak to him anyhow and all of that. That is not excellent. So the first principle for an epic agent is excellence. You have to be excellent. You have to be exceptional. Excellence will never go out of style. The second word is P, the letter P. The letter P stands for profitable. It also stands for passionate. It also stands for professional. It also stands for prominent. But all those words, passionate, professional, prominent, they all must fit into the single word that we will choose for the focus today, and that is profitable. The agent of the 21st century, the agent of post-COVID, must ask themselves, am I truly profitable? Or am I just making ends meet? Who knows me? Am I an authority? How do I become a standout and a sellout professional serving top quality clients who will pay my fees? Not chasing every deal, not going after transactions where there's no mandate, you have no way of knowing how you're going to be paid. You end up being in a position where you are begging to be paid anything. In the post-COVID world, I want you to begin to reconsider your business structure, look at your business operations, look at your model, and ask yourself, am I going to be profitable? And if not, what do I need to do? The third one, for the benefit of time, because I'd like to take questions, is the letter I, which represents intelligent. Intelligent. The empires of the future are empires of the mind, so said Winston Churchill. Interestingly, I've been watching, a movie on Netflix called The Crown, and I've actually come to fall in love with Winston Churchill, who was a prime minister, one of the prime ministers, during, we still have the Queen, who was one of the prime ministers, many years ago. And he said, the empires of the future are empires of the mind. That's Winston Churchill. Knowledgeable. You have to be knowledgeable about things. This is what demonstrates your intelligence. Empires of the mind means that you cannot be satisfied with knowing just enough. You cannot be satisfied with just knowing the area or knowing the general property. As some of my colleagues were speaking earlier, some of the fine and country champions, they were talking about a sort of knowledge. It's not just knowledge of the property. You have to have knowledge of the client that you're dealing with at any level. I don't care if they're buying a 5 million naira property, if they're buying a $1 million property. You have to understand them. It is your role as a real estate agent, as a professional, to understand who you are serving so that you can serve them effectively. And what builds your intelligence? What builds your knowledge? It's the ability to ask the right questions. It's the ability to be curious. It's the ability, as it were, to dig for information. You have to be knowledgeable about many things. The days of knowing just the property or the location or maybe your client is no longer enough. In this world, the post-COVID realtor has to understand economics. You have to know what's going on, devaluation, inflation, GDP. What do those things mean? What is the impact of the dwindling oil prices on real estate, on the economy, on household incomes? You have to understand global health, policies, architecture, interior design, aesthetics, because guess what? During this era, if you're trying to sell an office or a space or lease it or an apartment or a house, now people are having to reconfigure, redesign those properties. Will you as a real estate professional be able to contribute to that conversation, or will you have to step aside and allow, in quote, the professionals to speak? Very important to understand that it is not enough to know just the property. When we talk about intelligence, I want you to understand that you must know the regulatory policies, tax policies, you know, the land registry. You must understand sports. What if your client is a sports enthusiast and they're talking about that, talking about golf? You must understand digital marketing. You must understand technology and be able to leverage these things, okay? The Pioneer country has traditionally leveraged the power of knowledge by creating multiple avenues and platforms, as it were, to keep our champions and real estate industry stakeholders informed. Some of these platforms include the Refined Investor Series, includes the Institute of Real Estate Excellence, which I'll be talking to you about very shortly, includes the Power Broker Circle. We've had multiple, over the 12 years that we've been in business in West Africa, we have focused, as it were, on building knowledge, on providing current, accurate intelligence to stakeholders. We believe that it is critical for those who are serving clients in this sector, in the real estate sector, to have what I refer to as a higher level of intelligence. Because here's the thing, clients will defer to you when you have a higher level of intelligence. Superior arguments always win, and superior arguments come from you having the right knowledge. Moving on, our third principle is represented by the letter C in EPIC. Actually, it's the fourth and the final principle. And this C represents confidence. Confidence comes from hours and days and weeks and years of constant work and dedication. I'm going to say that again. Confidence comes from hours and days and weeks and years of constant work and dedication. And that quote was by Robert Staubach. I will also share another quote concerning confidence. I understand that you can't see me, but you can at least hear me. I'm seeing somebody else's screen. Can you guys see me? I guess it doesn't really matter, but as long as you can hear me and you're getting the points, okay? So with regards to confidence, it's important that you believe in yourself. It's important that you have faith in your abilities. I like to teach when I take business development sessions because most people are intimidated by clients who have more money than they have. Because let's say you're selling a property, 100 million, 50 million, 250 million, $1 million, and all of that. There's a sense in which you feel that these people are superior to you. Well, guess what? You don't have to own real estate to be confident, but you do have to have competent real estate knowledge. And you have to have a higher level of knowledge, as I said, superior knowledge, in order for you to be confident. So you don't need the money to be confident. You need knowledge. You need all these things. Something is covering my screen. Is it better? Can you see me?
Yes, we can see you now.
Oh dear. So that was me. Okay. All right. I'm gonna see if I can just see if I can also check my background. Okay. All right, great. Now you can see me now, I'm conscious. I didn't realize I was closed. Anyway, okay, let's move this along. So believe in yourself, okay? Have faith in your abilities. Without a humble but reasonable confidence in your own powers, you cannot be successful or happy. This is a quote by Norman Vincent Peale. I'm going to say it again. Believe in yourself. Have faith in your abilities. Without a humble but reasonable confidence in your own powers, you cannot be successful or happy. And it's very important that you are confident, because what's the sense of dealing with a client and being in a position where you're not able to then communicate, which brings me to the remaining C's. For you to be an epic agent, you have to be able to communicate effectively. That is a whole conversation on its own. You also have to be creative. And finally, you have to be collaborative as a real estate agent in these times. Collaboration will become very critical in the post-crisis economy. You know, you can either be a small fish in a tiny pond, or you can be one of the multiple good quality, excellent fish in a massive pond. Because I did this calculation a long time ago, and I found out that you are actually better off, as it were. Can you still see me? I want to make sure that, am I still good? You can see and hear? Okay, all right, fantastic. I found out a long time ago that having a good piece of a big pie is better than having either nothing of a small pie or a tiny bit with a lot of stress of a small pie. So collaboration will become critical. New collaborative thinking and approach to doing business in this economy will be required. When you engage customers, you want to hear what they have to say, not legislate what you have to offer, okay? Competitors, you will need to engage them more in designing collaborative solutions for the industry. You have to collaborate with key stakeholders in your industry. Creative thinking will usher in collaboration between stakeholders who in the past may have been considered to be competitors or operated in silos to solve bigger problems. What am I saying? It will be better and easier for you in this post-COVID world, in this tougher economy, to collaborate rather than try and remain in a silo. It has never been more critical than now. This is the time to, as it were, rethink, reimagine, and actually begin to redesign the box that you have been operating in as a professional or as an entrepreneur. Maybe it's actually time for some of you to throw out the box. The important thing I want you to know is that new thinking and new collaborations will unlock new opportunities. Now, some of you may say, this sounds great, but how can I engage? How do I become an epic agent? I'm hoping that somebody's asking that question at this point. How do I become an epic agent? Because you will need to become an epic agent. Because E in epic, which I said represents excellent, has 10 principles on how to be excellent, 10 practical principles on how to be not just excellent as a person, which is important because your person is very important. You as a professional is important, but 10 specific ways in which you can be excellent in the real estate sector. Every principle that I've shared with you in the word epic, the epic agent, each of them has a system and a process for becoming that, so that you can serve your clients, you can be excellent, you can be profitable, you can be productive, you can be prominent. You're not just, one of the millions, you are actually known for something. And you can also be confident, and because you're collaborating. So how can you become this excellent, profitable, intelligent, and confident real estate broker, agent, or entrepreneur? We would like to introduce you today to the Institute of the Real Estate Excellence. This was formed in 2012. And I'm just going to talk you through, if one of my colleagues will share the slides at this point. The Institute of Real Estate Excellence, it aims to, as it were, raise the professional standards of the Nigerian and African real estate industry through research, through training and coaching to meet international standards. Standards will become one of the key things to come out of this post-COVID era, whether it's in the paint sector, whether it's in interior design, it's in facilities management, it's in professional real estate services, it's in health, it's in food, agriculture, whatever segment. If you remember what I said earlier, that mediocrity is actually the biggest opportunity in Africa, certainly in Nigeria. So if you want to rise above and stand out as a professional, you have to adopt what we refer to as global standards, international standards. And even in some cases, you have to take it even higher if that is possible. So the Institute, the core vision is, as it were, to raise the professional standards of the Nigerian and African real estate industry through research, training, and coaching to meet these standards. It was birthed in 2012 as a response to some of the gaps that we believe exist in this sector, which we feel uniquely qualified to bridge, drawing on a rich pool of local and international knowledge and resource base. The transformation of mindset, professional practices, and the development of high-performance leaders is really at the heart of the Institute of Real Estate Excellence mission. Leadership development is at the core of Fine & Country's mission, and that's why we're very interested in supporting the industry through this institute. In this year, 2020, as the lockdown begins to be in ease, as we continue to pray and trust God, because we must trust God, because as you can see, all countries, all leaders, no matter how high and mighty they are, now realize that they cannot deal with this by themselves. God has given us the intelligence and will continue to give us the intelligence, but we do recognize that now only God has the ultimate power over the affairs of nations. And so as we continue to engage this era where we're navigating out of this health crisis and the economic crisis that clearly is coming, we want to focus the rest of this year to working with 100 realtors who will be accepted into this program, which will start at the end of June and the first week of July. It's going to be a 6-week program, which we'll share details later. I'm not going to spend time talking about that. The question I want to ask you, have some of these questions ever occurred to you? How do I build a profitable real estate career and business? How do I stand out in a crowded marketplace? How do I earn full fee values and stop chasing low fees? How do I attract premium clients and network with high value clients? How do I build digital prominence and sell like a pro? How do I build a strong and trusted brand and attract great quality mandates? How do I access untapped client niches? Like they say, the riches are in the niches. Everybody wants to do everything. But is it possible that perhaps you may want to take a particular area, a particular location, a particular segment, and dominate it and own it so that you are then the reference point in that area? How do you go about doing that so that you don't also go broke by having too infrequent transactions? How do you build a collaborative relationship and network to generate better revenue and results? How do you become a multi-millionaire real estate agent? In this, in these questions that I've raised and many more, we want to take real estate agents on a journey, because we as a company, collaboration is one of our key principles. It's one of our key values. It's very important to us. We want to be able to share 2 decades or more, as it were, of operating in this market. And when I say 2 decades now, I'm referring to myself. But in addition to the facilitators, local and international, that we're pulling together, we want to go on a journey. This is part of our legacy to the real estate industry. We also want to do business. We're also looking for, as it were, qualified real estate professionals that we can partner with over the coming years. Because I also have to indicate to you that, as a company, it's important to us, not just for our business, but for the industry, that we contribute, as it were, certain things to the economy. And we believe that this is one of the ways in which we can do it. What brought you into 2020 will not take you into the future. I'm going to say that one more time. What brought you into 2020 will not take you into the future. If you are a real estate entrepreneur, a professional, an agent, these key things, the 3 key pillars that you see on the screen right now, knowledge, leadership, collaboration, those are the 3 key pillars of the Institute of Real Estate Excellence. Those are the 3 key pillars that you will get by partnering, by participating over the coming months and in this year 2020. Because when we started 2020, everybody was excited. We all had big goals. We all had big, vision for this year. And now COVID has come. I just want to tell you, do not give up on your vision. Do not give up on your big goals. It is important. There's a reason why you had those goals, and it is still possible for you to achieve a lot of the vision that you carry in your heart. But when you do not have the resources, or you do not have the competence, or you do not have the network, or you do not have the knowledge, or you do not have the leadership in a particular area, you can leverage others who have it. And that's the reason that people have coaches. That's why you find that, whether it's Magic Johnson, it's, whoever it is that you want to call. I was watching, what's his name? The Nike guy. Oh my gosh, how can I forget him? The guy who flies. Someone should remind me, put it in the chat section.
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan. Oh my gosh, you do a conjo. Michael Jordan. I've been watching a Netflix series. And I keep mentioning Netflix because before COVID, I never watched TV. I don't have time for Netflix. But now with COVID, I'm leaning in, and taking out time to actually watch TV with my family and all that, in addition to doing the work. But what am I saying, guys? Listen, business is war, as I started, and it is lonely to work alone. Sometimes we want to do everything by ourselves, but in there, we end up getting, as it were, mediocre results. You can see in the screen, whether it's a Refined Investor Series, whether it's the partnership we have with Lagos Business School, it's a Power Broker Circle. This is a journey that as a company we've been on for a very long time. And indeed, we want to, as it were, equip, especially those who have gotten into real estate without necessarily, developing the skills, especially when it comes to marketing real estate, especially when it comes to professionally presenting real estate as a professional. We feel that this is an area where not only are we uniquely qualified, but in partnership with other stakeholders, that we can help the market and help you to actually grow and become epic, excellent, profitable, intelligent, and confident. Because there's a sense in which when you are getting results, then you feel even more confident. Literally every business must go back to the drawing board. Every professional, every entrepreneur, we must go back in this new economy, and we must get to the drawing board and begin to rethink real estate agency. There's a better way, there's a brighter way, there is a bolder way, there is a more epic way. And that brings me to the end of this presentation. I welcome you to ask more questions. We will send you the full details. This isn't about pitching you the Institute of Real Estate Excellence. At this point, it's really about saying to you that we don't want you to be alone. We don't want you to feel left alone. We believe as a company, a lot of our business over the past few years has happened working with a lot of very professional agents, but we believe that it is possible to expand that footprint. And as a company also in the coming years, we'll be looking to do sub-licenses, the Fine and Country sub-licenses. We also want to partner. We want to work with associates. We want to work with partner firms and all of that. We have a very strong platform, strong marketing platform, which is the Refined marketplace, as it were, where we present our properties. How many firms, as it were, can invest in a multi-page magazine, produce it almost on a monthly basis, and all of that. So even in the post-COVID world, even if you're not printing physically, what it takes to actually, as it were, invest in this process can be quite extensive, especially for solo professionals, as it were. So what we're looking to do is to begin to identify people of like minds, people who want to be epic, those who are satisfied with crumbs, with operating, at the same level, that's fine. But we believe that there are people who we can, as it were, coach, work with, and create, as it were, a bigger pie and a bigger circle, and, interact, as it were, with other professionals. So I welcome you to ask questions, and for you to recognize that this is the era of the epic agent. It's the era of the epic professional. And I welcome you to embrace that, as it were, as your toolbox for you to engage business in the post-COVID era. Thank you very much. I will take questions now. Okay, I'm almost looking like someone is going to ask me the questions. Let's see. Okay, any questions for me? It's actually a client call. Okay, so a prospect, I'm going to just take the random questions. I'm going to wait to see if you have any particular questions for me. Thank you very much. I'm looking for questions. I see the comments. Thank you. I want to see if there are any specific questions. Okay, let's see in the Q&A box, maybe it's there. So in marketing, some prospects will ask what property you have yourself. How does one respond to this? Well, this is one of the questions. And if you notice, when I went through some of those key questions in asking, you may not have the real estate is a very collaborative business. One person has the property, somebody else has the client. And we've seen different people operate, and sometimes there's miscommunication. And the reason for that is because most people are not epic, as it were. So that's one of the reasons why it's important that we all learn how to operate, as it were, as epic professionals. So that, if they say, is this a property that you have for yourself? If you're part of a licensed circle, you can say, we have within. So for example, one of the things that the reason why it's important for us to continue to collaborate, we get calls from Port Harcourt, from Abuja, from, Akure, from Kaduna, even within Lagos. There are areas where, as a company, we do not have the competence or the reach, right? And so the whole idea is that you then have people who have gone through the epic system and are operating in the same way, and you can, as it were, work with them to serve that client. So you will never be in that situation where, if you don't have a property, then you're feeling uncomfortable, as it were. I'm going to see if there's another question I can take. In the era of collaboration, is Fine & Country working with other real estate associations such as NIESB, Redan, in sharing knowledge? As a matter of fact, I don't know if it's the second president or the president of Redan is a very close personal friend. I'm very actively involved with them. With NIESB, good question. We constantly collaborate. We're collaborating with Lagos Business School in doing the programs. We constantly invite people who are certified, qualified, whether it's Redan, it's NIESB. And in international organizations, so not just the local ones. So in collaborating, there's no one who is left out, professionals as well as the organization, anybody who can enable us, as it were, create more epic agents, we're happy to collaborate with. How can we leverage on this? I noticed there are a lot of empty offices in highbrow areas in the island. So this is also part of being part of an intelligent community, because then these questions, on an ongoing basis, you have a pool of people that you can brainstorm with and, as it were, begin to engage and get their own knowledge, you share yours, because we believe that not one partner or one person is more intelligent, that you have a specific intelligence you can bring to the table and all of that. So for the purpose of my Q&A and for this particular webinar, we're focusing on the role of the real estate agent. So we're not working on that right now. So let's move on. What impact do you foresee on the real estate sales? We're going to have a separate segment for that, and we'll have that conversation. How can we be part of the intelligent community? You will receive an invitation, everyone on this webinar, with all the details. The whole idea is to be able to collaborate, do business, exchange, and then we want people in particular who are willing to go through the process so that we know that we're all on the same page. So some of those experiences that the Fine and Country champions were sharing in terms of how we serve clients, so that when I send you a brief, maybe in Ikeja or even in Osborne, for example, that we know that you're serving that client in the same manner. Okay. Thank you for the answer. Okay. Okay, I'm now going to go to the chat and see if they're to join the IREE. My colleagues will share that information in subsequent emails. You have all the details to join. It's not just joining the session. We're also looking to really just expand so that we have essentially a circle of epic agents that we can all connect and, as it were, do business with. And more details will be shared in the coming days. How do you bring various investors to an online meeting considering their different schedules? Thank you, Mr. Konjo, for repositioning the real estate marketing industry in line with global standards. Keep up the good job. Niche, temporary is great, but in the post-COVID business environment and synergy with like-minded firms will guarantee streams of income. We look forward to working with you to create mega networks of firms. Absolutely. I totally believe it. Multiple small fries, I shouldn't say small fries, but you guys understand what I'm saying. I say that deliberately because every one of us is a fish in an ocean, and you can decide what sort of ocean you want to operate in. Do you want the blue ocean or do you want the red ocean? The red ocean, think of it as a bloody ocean where you have multiple fish, fighting each other. Whereas in the blue ocean, imagine just this calm, soft, cool waters running, and everyone is happily operating. Now, it sounds like nirvana, but it can actually, imagine if all the people you're operating with are epic agents. All of a sudden, you know that even if you have your business, when you're collaborating with someone who shares similar business systems, similar mindset, they're positive, they're not negative, they're not, all of those things, then we're in a position to do much better. Okay, I will hand over. Thank you very much. I believe that is the end. I will just take one last question. Okay, that's it. Okay, thank you guys, and well done. And please stay safe, everyone. I'm going to bring back my colleague to wrap this up. Peter, if you're there. I just want you to know that if you don't take anything out of this, I want you to recognize that we are in an incredible time. In this segment, remember where I started by saying that real estate is big. If you don't remember anything, remember that. Real estate is big. There are incredible opportunities. The other day, we worked on 25 new opportunities in the real estate related industry. That's related. Within real estate itself, there are incredible opportunities. But it's going to take an epic investor, an epic professional, an epic real estate agent, an epic real estate entrepreneur to actually unlock these opportunities. People are looking to be served on an ongoing basis. I feel like we've not been busier than in this season. And there's only so much that as a firm you can do. You need to partner with other people who are also operating at the same level. We want to work with people as close associates and some as partners. So those are the two, angles and ways in which we'll be working. Okay. In the absence of any further questions, I'm going to wrap this up and bring on Peter. Thank you very much. Peter, over to you.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you for the presentation. Thank you to our panelists. Thank you, DULUX. We'll be sending you emails in maybe tomorrow or a couple of days to give you details on how to join this community. We will also look at the questions and get answers to those ones we were not able to take on this webinar. Thank you very much for joining. Have a good day and stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.